Come, come. Whoever you are, just come. These are the words of the beloved 13th century poet Rumi. They were shared with us by the Chief of Cabinet to the President of Turkey in Ankara just a few weeks ago, and they echo the philosophy that has brought us together once again. ICANN's door is open. It is open to everyone, no matter your nationality, your language, your position, your level of expertise or opinion. It is open because the unique voice matters to the future of the Internet. Welcome to ICANN 41 and to wonderful Singapore. It is a living example of the transformative power of technology. In 2011, for the second year in a row, Singapore was rated as the second most connected country in the world, thanks to your leadership and others in the government and private sector. ICANN's first public meeting was held here back in 1999, as Peter mentioned. We welcome our special guests today who honor us with their presence. Ms. Grace Fu, Senior Minister for Information, Communications and the Arts, who spoke earlier, and of course, Ms. Eileen Chia, Deputy Director of the Info Communications Development Authority. They have spearheaded a national effort to ensure Singapore's smooth transition to IPv6. The Singapore Internet Exchange is now a major Internet hub in the region, serving our interconnected world. And I would also like to recognize some of Asia's Internet leaders, including Professor Tan Tin Wee of Singapore for his pioneering work on internationalized domain names, Dr. Wu Jinping of China, winner of the 2010 John Postel Award, Professor Kilman Chon of Korea, James Singh for his contributions in advancing the development of IDNs, and Professor Jun Murai of Japan's Wide Network, who have done so much to advance the Internet. They are a reflection. I know James is here. I'm not sure who else is. They're a reflection of Asia's legacy of achievement in the high-tech field, a legacy based on solid engineering excellence, ingenuity, creativity, and a lot of hard work. We're also deeply grateful to Leong Kan Tai, the Infocom Development Authority of Singapore, and their Singapore Network Information Center for their generosity and unparalleled hospitality in hosting this meeting, and for the attention they have paid to every detail to ensure the success of this key event in ICANN's history. And I ask you, have you ever had such great hotel food before? It's amazing. As we gather here, we face a number of important issues. A decision is expected shortly on new generic top-level domains. Recommendations of the Accountability and Transparency Review Team, including implementation plans, are due for action by the Board of Directors. And a new chair, I know there's some interest in that, and a new chair and vice chair of the board will also be elected this week. This is a truly significant moment in ICANN's history. According to a recent study by McKinsey Global Institute, the Internet contributed about $1.7 trillion to the global gross domestic product in 2009. The Internet overall is contributing about 3.4% to global GDP, according to the study. In more mature economies, 21% of all economic growth, 21% over the last 5 years can be attributed to the Internet. At a time when the world needs more jobs, our efforts to open up and advance the Internet and the DNS can be a contributing factor. For every job lost through technological advances, 2.6 are created, according to the study. That's a good ratio. This increase in employment and resulting productivity boost have led to higher living standards and greater wealth worldwide. They've also become key factors in international efforts to alleviate poverty and spread education in developing countries, and this is a potent argument for keeping the Internet open and unified as we do. The Internet advances economies through innovation. It provides a global launchpad for ideas that will generate tomorrow's great economic opportunities. It empowers creative thought and risk-taking. And never in the history of mankind has there been a more fertile field for innovation to grow in. Here in Asia, you have much to be proud of. South Korea and Japan enjoy the fastest broadband access speeds in the world, reportedly far surpassing the United States and many European countries. In Japan, the average access speed for broadband is 84 megabits per second. In the United States, 17. Asia has 42% of the world's internet users, more than 800 million people, 400 million in China alone. It has grown, the user population has grown by more than 600% since the year 2000. And according to Cisco, global internet traffic will quadruple by 2015. 42% of that growth will be here in Asia. And China alone is expected to have 670 million users by 2015. The Internet's mega economic impact and its potential for greater growth and influence make ICANN and our role collectively more important. Our economic future depends on maintaining a stable domain name system in order to provide the foundation for continued communication and innovation. ICANN must be part of the dialogue to ensure that this role is understood and to advance our common goal of a secure, stable, and unified global Internet. A key element of that dialogue is the Internet Governance Forum. Through the dedicated work of many stakeholders, the IGF's mandate has been extended for 5 years, thanks to the efforts of many of you. At the same time, the UN called for changes that could profoundly alter the IGF's form and function. ICANN is contributing to their development through the Commission on Science and Technology Development, and we look forward to participating in future IGFs, including in lovely Nairobi, Kenya, this September. Engagement with governments is also fundamental to ICANN's role and to the very future of the Internet. In representing governments at ICANN, the Governmental Advisory Committee, or GAC, continues its growth, indicating that governments are increasing their participation in our work. The GAC's significant role in ICANN, of course, complements many other groups. This constructive international engagement was well demonstrated in the Board GAC consultations in Brussels and in sorting through 80 complex and challenging issues related to new GTLDs. It demonstrates that once again, the multi-stakeholder model is alive and working. And now, for today's big news. Every ICANN public meeting is important. But this meeting is particularly important for an obvious reason. This morning, the Board of Directors will consider whether to approve a program to introduce new generic top-level domains into the DNS. It has been, do I need to tell you, a long, hard road. But we are here. Almost 6 years after the formal policy development process began, we're facing a decision today on whether to move ahead with one of the most significant changes in the history of the Internet and the DNS. And a lot of people thought we'd never get here. If the Board votes to approve the new GTLD program, the namespace of the Internet could expand dramatically with the promise of significant economic impact. Many organizations with an online presence will be affected in some way. This represents great opportunity as well as some risk that we must and will manage. New businesses are already poised to move forward. Consulting businesses to advise applicants have sprung up. Over 120 organizations have publicly said they intend to apply and declared applications. And more than 90 have active websites marketing their proposed new concepts and ideas. This is innovation at its best. They are proposing all types of new GTLDs, city names, community ideas, branding opportunities for companies and products, IGOs, and others. This demonstrates the rich platform for innovation that new GTLDs represent. Others are preparing to take advantage of the upcoming change, even if they do not intend to apply for TLDs themselves. Development of the new GTLD program continues to be conducted in a highly transparent, inclusive, and comprehensive fashion. And this has continued here over the last several days. The community has contributed to tremendous lengths to address the concerns of all interested parties and to seek balance among them. Some claim that ICANN stands to profit from this new program. This is not true. The program will be run on a cost recovery basis as designed by you, the community, and as approved by the ICANN board, if approved by the ICANN board. As CEO, I have neither advocated nor opposed this program. Now that this phase has been completed, I will be raising my hand to vote. This was a strategic decision I made when I came to ICANN to remain neutral. I saw my role as fostering the environment, the processes, the skills, and the practices to develop the program's framework successfully. When the ICANN community develops and implements policy, everyone gets a say. And the close cooperation among the community, staff, and board was particularly beneficial in the development of the applicant guidebook. This careful and extensive consultative process, especially on detailed matters of such consequence, takes time, but the result reflects a well-considered community consensus. We have reached the end of the policy and implementation planning phases of new GTLDs. Now the real hard work begins. Program launch and execution. Application processing will proceed according to our policies, the applicant guidebook, and ICANN's bylaws. The ultimate decision following staff processes and independent panel findings comes when the board chooses whether or not to delegate a string into the route. We have an obligation to represent the global public interest in every aspect of this policy development, implementation, and execution. But each of these phases is distinctly different. And ICANN and this community must acknowledge that once a decision is made to move forward with this implementation, if it occurs today, one chapter has closed and another begins. The open door process of private industry and other parties promoting specific outcomes, which contributed so richly to the policy development process, must now come to a close. Application processing must be neutral and objective and be seen as such, with new and clean lines of separation among community, applicants, board, and staff on all issues related to applications. As applications are evaluated, we must maintain the integrity and transparency of the process so that all stakeholders can have confidence in this program. ICANN has clear confidentiality policies, and under my leadership, we will continue to enforce them. I think we can all feel proud of this community's achievements in developing this incredible innovation and in bringing this innovation and this issue to a conclusion. Huge technical and political challenges have been overcome through inclusion, cooperation, diplomacy, compromise, and a lot of hard work by many, many individuals, a lot of them in this room. We thank you. No one ever thought it would take this long, but the commitment, and some might even say extreme endurance, needed to bring so many conflicting interests into balance to produce a credible and well-grounded program has never wavered. It reflects the very best of the multi-stakeholder model and this community at work. Internationalized domain names make it possible to access the internet in scripts other than Latin-based characters, and their successful adoption has been one of ICANN community's greatest successes. The new GTLD program will enable additional IDNs. One pending issue is the potential delegation of variant top-level domains. Some scripts, Chinese for example, exist in multiple forms with several ways to represent the same concept. IDN variants would allow their use at the top level. On Saturday, the community started work on case studies of variants in Arabic, Chinese, Cyrillic, Devanagari, Greek, and Latin. These community-led teams plan to finish their report to the board by the end of this year. You may recall that at the Silicon Valley meeting, I called for the widest possible range of voices to respond to the U.S. Department of Commerce's notice of inquiry on the IANA functions. No matter what your view, in keeping with the multi-stakeholder model, it's important that everybody be heard. It was wonderful to see so many people, organizations, and countries coming forward. More than 80 organizations and individuals offered their views on these important issues. The comments indicate strong percent, over 80%, for ICANN's performance of the IANA functions and for keeping those functions together. The call for greater transparency and greater multi-stakeholder involvement in and oversight of the IANA functions was also strongly supported. Further evidence of support comes from the IETF, the Internet Architecture Board, the Number Resource Organization. At their request, we have begun discussions about ICANN managing and operating the single global trust anchor for Internet Number Resource Certification. We applaud their important efforts. As many of you are no doubt aware, the Department of Commerce has asked for additional comment on enhancing the IANA functions. This further notice of inquiry seeks input on more detailed proposed changes to the IANA contract. Again, I urge all of you and everyone in the community, each one of you, to please submit your views, no matter what they are, on how you think the IANA function should evolve in this component of the Internet. Again, I urge you to join us in engaging in the dialogue. It's imperative that the performance of the IANA functions receives the support of the global Internet community. And we thank the NTIA for providing the community with multiple opportunities to provide open and transparent input. ICANN continues to implement the recommendations on the Accountability and Transparency Review Team. We created a team of executives to focus on this area to ensure that adequate resources were dedicated and that the work got done. We have proposed that all 27 recommendations, all 27, be adopted. The board must take action by the end of June and allocate the necessary resources. We have been conducting the analysis, listening to the community input, and developing implementation plans for board consideration. Many operational improvements have already been implemented, as you have seen. ICANN has a strong foundation of accountability and transparency-related achievements, and we will continue to build upon this. The Internet has tremendous capacity to improve lives through greater economic growth, as we discussed. But its capacity for good also has a shadow, the capacity for bad and harm. The new GTLD program includes many new protections for rights holders and measures to mitigate malicious conduct. But the work does not stop there. The GNSO is reviewing concrete recommendations to address domain name registration abuse in GTLDs, including cyber squatting, malicious use of domain names, fake renewal notices, uniformity of contracts, and who-is access problems, among other issues. The community is developing a discussion paper on non-binding best practices to help registrars and registries address those matters, and a workshop is being held here in Singapore. Who-is data includes registered domain names, registrant contracts, and other critical information. The GNSO Council is working with ICANN's policy staff to conduct who-is studies to provide a more factual, data-driven foundation for future policymaking. One is reviewing previous GNSO who-is policy issues and current and potential technical requirements. A strong who-is database is a priority as ICANN increases its collaboration and engagement with law enforcement. Law enforcement has a key role to play in our multi-stakeholder community, and Interpol is an important international leader in this field. I was privileged to visit Interpol headquarters in Lyon, France last month, where I met with Secretary General Ron Noble to explore avenues for further collaboration on Internet security. This was the first high-level meeting between ICANN and Interpol. We were pleased to learn of their interest in joining the GAC as an observer. The ICANN community is also part of a wide-ranging discussion on the Registrar Accreditation Agreement to better address the concerns of security and law enforcement communities, enhance protections for registrants, and provide better compliance tools. I hope that more progress on these matters can be made this week. This meeting will also bring together a broad spectrum of community experts on DNS security and stability, a full-day working session on the AOC SSR review team, workshops on DNSSEC implementation, and technical sessions with the CCTLD community. As always, ICANN continues to face a massive global agenda. We must have the leadership, professional skills, and experience to meet these increasing demands. And while we have made solid progress, the challenges continue to grow, and we must redouble our efforts. These past 2 years have been a period of significant transition for ICANN staff. Many changes have been made to ensure that we continue to serve this community and the public interest to the highest professional standards. I was explicitly given this challenge when I was hired. Our need for different leadership and processes does not diminish the enormous contributions of previous staff members who have given so much to this organization and community, many of whom have moved on to other organizations where they continue to thrive and contribute to the ICANN community from a different perspective. Together, we have a true success story to tell. We are building a world-class organization. We have upgraded policy development support, created a communications department, enhanced IANA processing, and enhanced its resiliency, and we've strengthened the security team and also contractual compliance. The changes to date have also produced a mature and cohesive senior management team that functions at a very high level of quality, productivity, and teamwork, and continues to grow in its scope and abilities. Simply put, we have a great executive management team. We continue to bring in many individuals with diverse international backgrounds. This helps to globalize our organization and extend our language skills to address more communities. We're also building new tools so our staff can do their jobs more effectively. A new financial system, the TLD processing, application processing system, and a new and more effective intranet that replaces previous outdated systems. All of this has been achieved while keeping turnover in the organization well below industry norms. A normal rate of turnover in the high-tech and nonprofit sectors, as most of you know because you function in it, is 20 to 25% a year. Despite material upgrades in numerous key positions, ICANN's turnover in 2010 was only 11.62%. 11.62. And in 2011, overall ICANN turnover is tracking at an annualized rate under 13%, still below average. But it's important to note that turnover is likely, if not certain, to increase if new GTLDs are approved today. We will be substantially augmenting and improving the new GTLD program office, and we could see a rise in departures as our highly qualified staff are recruited by other organizations, including some in this room, for their unique experience in this emerging area. This would be a solid endorsement of our staff. Not unexpectedly, the first such resignation has already occurred. I'm pleased to hear the community begin discussions on whether ICANN ethics policies need to be strengthened. The past 2 years have been a tremendously rewarding period in my professional life. What we have all achieved together in only 2 years is truly remarkable. If new GTLDs are approved, it will be our 4th major achievement of global significance since my arrival just 2 years ago. Together, we completed the affirmation of commitments. We then completed IDNs in the Fast Track program not long after that. And then DNSSEC was successfully launched last year and has now been rolled out around the world. Everyone in this community can be proud of these accomplishments on time in a high-quality manner. And of course, we've seen a significant strength of the multi-stakeholder model through enhanced relationships around the world. We did all of this while ensuring 100% accuracy in IANA delegations and redelegations and maintaining the stability of the Internet's root, which is job number 1. But our work is not done. I will not stand here and pretend that any of this has been easy. It has not been easy. Or that there have not been naysayers. There are. I am proud to have led this organization through such a productive period under such enormous pressures and change. Peter Denge-Thrush and I are very different people. We have different talents, different work styles, different backgrounds and interests. But together, we forged an extremely productive relationship that has always been focused on performance, delivering quality, and lifting this organization. Peter sharpened the focus on the board, and I did it with the staff. We've worked closely together on countless occasions to ensure that the public interest is always well served. The power and the stability of this relationship will be gone on Friday as Peter completes his term as chair of the board quite successfully. It has been a great platform for board, staff, and community success. And Peter, I'm thankful to you for everything you have contributed. I look forward to building that kind of relationship with a new chair and vice chair. Today, we face a fateful decision for ICANN. Our reputation and the future of the multi-stakeholder ecosystem depend on how well we respond. And I'm confident that the new board will rise to this challenge. The new GTLD program will be a crucial test of our ability to execute and stay focused on what matters, not on the noise that can distract us all. We are dedicated to delivering this program and all of our responsibilities to the highest possible standard, and we will. I would like to thank ICANN's incredibly dedicated staff who have worked so hard and with such professionalism to bring this moment. The new GTLD program may be ICANN's most important achievement yet. For the community, the board, and the staff, for everyone who has worked so hard to make this happen, this is an historic moment. The moment that we together can and will make history. Thank you very much.